Thank you to our patrons for helping make this podcast possible.
Three, two, one. Alright, welcome back to Void FM. It's your boy Rav. You might have heard Bill's voice just then. That was the last time you're hearing his voice this episode. I'm here alone this time. No producer, no Mitch, no Bill. They did a couple episodes without me. And, it was time that I did some work, and I caught up. And so they're taking their time off, and I'm uploading this instead. And I think I'm causing Mitch tons of stress, not on purpose. I've just been on the road a lot. I'm in the US now, as some of you may already know. And it took me a little while to get my US phone number, which I finally got today. I got two, one for work, one for leisure. And even then, I still get like no fucking signal ever. So that's cool. And it's been tough to get the episode done while I've been on the road with the boys. And so I was like, all right, I'll do one like this. So I'm uploading this the day of. I'm uploading this at night. It's almost 3 a.m. right now. So I have to record this now, edit it. Hopefully it's not going to be very edit heavy. And then upload it. Oh, I also have to do the thumbnail and everything. I'm going to do it, then Mitch is going to be like, whoa, you did everything. I was worried for nothing. That's how he talks. God bless his heart. Yeah, so here I am. I'm in the States. The house has been sold in the UK. And, yeah, let's talk about it. You are now tuning in to Void FM.
4050 deep, why don't you turn around and let's the back end of the table. Okay. Let this turn around to your right. Set up. Forward. Let's just lead him. Alright, better. Walk around it. I just denied that field if you, pick up the mesa. I don't want to go into the spot if I can afford it. That's right. Let them get a view from there and, I'll see what the field of view looks like.
Okay, so where do I start? Well, one of the good things about being back in the US is the weed is so much better here than in the UK. So that's been great. Also, got myself a new lighter. Y'all won't be able to tell. It's a Zorro lighter. This is not for the audio listeners, obviously. This is for the video listeners. But check this out. Hold on. Can you see it? It's like a tarot card. It's a brass Zorro lighter, and it's etched into it like the star tarot card. But speaking of lighters, Bill and I have put out some lighters along with our album that we dropped about a month ago, Keep the Change. And we dropped like a line of limited edition merchandise. And there's two items that are Zorro lighters. One that is a Rav one and one that is a Bill one. They're collector's items, limited edition. And I still don't have my hands on them, but I've seen people post them. They're finally getting them. If you've gotten yours, please tag us. We'll repost them because they look so sick. I just took a sip of Coke. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, that's right. I'm fucking crazy. What do I talk about? There's been so much going on. So much stuff. I saw a comment on YouTube. Someone saying, hey, is Rav still spending all his money on weed? The answer to that is yes, of course. Suck my fucking dick. What else? Man, I don't know. I've been having a blast. It was nice seeing Bill. I look forward to seeing Square and other people. I have like a whole line of friends that I'm trying to see ASAP. Yeah. Also, man, am I allowed to announce this? I should. I should be allowed to do this. Fuck it. I'll do it. If you're listening to this on the week of the release of the episode, you might want to keep your ears out and your eyes peeled for a little some on Friday. Perhaps a little bit of news. Perhaps some sort of announcement. Yeah. Anyway, I'm ADHD as hell, so we're going to be jumping from topic to topic. Oh man, I missed these. Y'all ever have these, oh snap, Hottie Bites pickles? They're like chopped up. You can get them at gas stations. Not all of them. Not all gas stations have these, but some do. And they're so crunchy. Never a real crunch every time, man. I'm telling you, that shit is so ill. That's been good. A lot of good American food, obviously, since coming back. A lot of great Mexican food as well. I've had certain things for the first time recently. I've been having lots of cool experiences for the first time. Seeing lots of animals. I've been seeing lots of like groundhogs, and I seen the skunk, deer. Oh man, I saw a bear real close. I was like, I don't know, 100, 200 feet away from the bear tops. It was sick. I run into bears every year in the States. I run into them all over the States. It's awesome. I love bears. Anyway, yeah. So I'm about to move to Minneapolis. At first I was going to like settle on a place and then move in, right? Because I've had my stuff get sent over from the UK to the US. It's sort of like in transit right now. But I think what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to head over to Minneapolis towards the end of this week. And I'm going to stay at a hotel or an Airbnb for like a couple of weeks and go see these places that I've like been favoriting, you know, and bookmarking. Going and seeing these places in person before committing to a big decision, you know. I feel like this is a big move for me. I want to make sure I do it right. That's why it was important for me to get the fucking, you know, the phone numbers. And I had to spend 2 hours at the Verizon store just to get a phone number. It was crazy. I want to get an ID next. And then I want to get a bank account that's like a personal bank account, not a business bank account in the US, you know? Apply for a driver's license afterwards. Cop a whip, you know? I was thinking maybe getting a Suzuki Samurai or something like that. And that's it. Post up. Work on music. I've been working on music. I've been writing a bunch. I've been writing a ton. But I'm ready to like produce and record. You know what? Let's talk about that. You know, Keep the Change was so much fun for me. It felt like, oh, I just wanted to do stuff. I just wanted to make stuff unrestricted by any sort of limitations or preconceived notions in terms of like stylistic boundaries, you know? So I had a really good time just coming up with whatever and committing to that. And so I think I'm just going to continue going down that path. Sonically, it's taking me elsewhere. It's taking me away from the Keep the Change sound for the most part. But, you know what I'm saying? It's still like the same spirit applies. The same spirit I usually apply. It's just following the creative whims and trying to free myself of restrictions as time goes on and as I grow aware of them, you know? I'm excited. I don't know how long I'm going to go to Minneapolis for. I was thinking like maybe a year, But who knows, maybe half a year will be enough. You know what I mean? I guess it all depends on like how long it takes me to work on the projects that I wanted to finish in Minneapolis. It also depends on like whether if I come to a conclusion on what my following step should be. Right now it feels too premature to even engage in that kind of thought. Like, oh, what am I gonna do next? Let me just focus on the now and the immediate next, rather than, you know, thinking 6 steps ahead. I'll see, you know. I'm not tied down to a singular location. You know, it's one of the perks of this job, right? Being an artist, a self-employed artist. But one day, you know, obviously one day I'm gonna have to plant my feet and be like, all right, this is more or less where I think I'm gonna post up. I just haven't come across a place like that yet. And I don't think I've come across that. I don't think I'm in that mindset at the moment. You know what I mean? I'm in a more exploratory chapter of my life right now. I'm trying to figure things out. You know? I guess we'll see. I've been falling asleep to what's his name? Jacob fucking Jones on YouTube. A dude who reviews and smokes cigarettes. He's become like my new go to sleep to person, you know. I like to listen to podcasts or certain ASMR sometimes, like, or just usually it's talking, you know. It's talking that gets me to fall asleep, or the sounds of water. And I love his cadence, I love his energy, his vibe, you know. He's so cool. Like, he just feels wholesome. He just feels like a type of guy that I get. He's like a review bra, but of like cigarettes type shit. You know? I love that, like, he spends so much time. He really comes across as passionate, you know what I'm saying? He spends time, like, giving a little bit of his brief synopsis on the cigarettes themselves, what they might mean or where they're from, or perhaps his own personal history with that brand or pack of cigarettes. Then he reviews the packaging, you know, and then he opens it up and he reviews the aesthetics of this cigarette. It's dope. It's like it takes him like a solid half an hour, I would say, sometimes, before he even gets to the point where like he lights the cigarette. I don't even smoke cigarettes. Y'all know that. I don't care for cigarettes at all. But I love his passion. I love his passion for cigarettes and his appreciation. That motherfucker loves to smoke cigarettes. He can explain the flavors and shit like that. I mean, passion is addictive, right? I think that's part of the reason why maybe we gravitate to a certain kind of person, you know? I think like a lot of us gravitate towards artists and stuff like that because these are, the job of an artist is to express themselves. And so that others who don't get that much time or ability to nurture that expression can tap into that expression and can find a language, you know, through music, through visual art, film, whatever it is, culinary art. Anyway, I feel like I'm probably rambling. It's cool though. The passion always is infectious, I find, you know? I love hearing people get excited talking about something. I don't have to care about the subject matter. I really don't. In fact, I usually prefer not to care. You feel me on that? Like, I love to hear what a motherfucker like rambles on about something I have no idea about for the most part. Because it's also fun for me to hear. Because I'm like, oh, that word? Okay. Oh, shit. Like, I accidentally came across like this Easter egg of knowledge in my personal life. And I'll probably forget most of it. But beyond the knowledge, it's the passion. And that stays. At least that stays with me. That's something I can retain. That's something I can transform into motivation, inspiration, whatever you want to call it. And then I can go and connect with the sublime. I feel like being any kind of artist, or maybe, okay, I can't speak for any kind of artist, but I'll speak for myself. It feels like the ability to tap into the sublime and the abyss, and then harvest something from both. Oh, bad. I'm doing this at almost 3 a.m. Why am I doing it at 3 a.m.? Well, I couldn't get my ass to sit down and record. I've just been all over town trying to get my life set up, my shit figured out. And I've been trying to take a little vacation, man. I haven't been on vacation in so long. I figured, like, you know what? I deserve a little vacation. Poor Mitch. He was stressed. We should have backlogged more episodes before I set sail, as it were, you know? But, you know, things happen. I blame goddamn Bill somehow. Shouts Bill. It was nice seeing Bill recently. It was really chill. I always love seeing him. It's crazy. First time I met him in person, specifically in person, was 10 years ago now, y'all. I met him online 7 years prior to that on Newgrounds, of all places. As many of you probably already know. I've known this motherfucker for 17 years. I interviewed him. First time I did any kind of collaboration or thing like that was I did an interview. I interviewed him on Newgrounds in 2007. And then I think in 2009 we tried to work on a song, or maybe we worked on a song. And then eventually we put out Mambo, which was like 2009 or 2010, and that shit was trash. But it was fun. And we were doing the Big Sean bars, which also were known around the time as also French Montana or Drake bars, where it would be like, you know what Drake said? If I was at the club, you know I'd ball. Chemo. Swimming in this money, come and find me. Nemo. Getting rid of so we did a whole song where we were just like, yo, we thought it was such a funny format, and we thought it was kind of played out at that point. And so I guess we're just, you know, it was a tongue-in-cheek song, and the first time we collabed. And man, I hope Bill's not gonna be too mad that I'm talking about that song, because it's trash. But it was before Bill found his voice, as it were, and before I found my voice, because he used to rap like this, man. You know, Kill Bill on the beat, I got big rims, yeah. And then he kind of went, yeah, I do the bumbo, got a little lalo, you know. And then he just kind of converted to like what he is now. So what I'm saying is, like, the first time we worked together, I feel like he was in the middle of finding himself, transitioning stylistically, like going from tutorial to like, oh, okay, to level 1 type shit. And I was definitely still very much lost doing my Lil Wayne thing. For the longest time, I was just like, especially like post Carter 2, I just wanted to be Wayne, you know? I thought he was so cool. I loved all the mixtapes, the volume of music he put out, the bars, and the fact. It's just, there's so many things. There's so many things to love about Wayne. And I was like, hey, he's short. Hey, his voice is also, you know, high register. So I just like copied his laugh, a lot of his ad libs early on, you know. But on that song, I have this hilarious bar. It's hilarious because it is hilarious in a vacuum, and specifically how I deliver it. I say, can be both cold and hot, air con, or something along those lines, you know. Man, you know, humble beginnings. And it wasn't even beginnings at that point. I'd been rapping for a solid minute, you know. I started off, you know, early 2000s. So it took me a long time before I found myself, but I did. I think about 10 years ago is actually when I found myself. 10 years ago is when, not like found myself in terms of my voice, because by then I already found my voice. I think I found my voice around 2012-ish, 2013 maybe. 2014 is more so when I nurtured my writing, my ability to express my feelings. I think there was a personal barrier that I managed to break past in terms of just like, yo, I don't have to be surface level. I don't have to just say whatever. Like, I could just be dead ass. And being dead ass felt so much more powerful and more therapeutic. It was just like I unlocked the craziest ability. I think 2013 I started like feeling comfortable. In 2014 is when I really just like everything was connecting for me. And for the first time. And you know what breaks my heart is when we worked on Ramona, part of the reason why it's hard for me personally to look back on my features on Ramona, despite loving the project, is because I'm very proud of my writing on that. Don't get me wrong. I think the Chinatown hook is catchy. I think my verses on Abandoned 2 and Pork are sick. It was more so that when it came time to recording those verses and the hook is when I got hit with bronchitis, and I just struggled. It was such a struggle to get the right takes. And also while we were sick, Bill's interface that we were using, it just kept like bugging out, you know what I mean? Like, we'd like hit record, do a verse, it looked good, the wave looks fine. Then you hit playback and it's like distorted, heavy distortion, and not like something you'd want, you know? There's certain songs where like, oh, they call for deliberate use of distortion, but not on a song like Pork or Abandoned 2 or Chinatown, or most songs for that matter, on Ramona, right? It's just not that kind of record. And so it was really a struggle. And for me, a lot of those takes were just like compromise takes, you know? Like there was a very much an awareness of like, oh, I'm struggling breathing. I'm struggling swallowing saliva. You know what I'm saying? You ever been in that situation where you're like, you're manually swallowing because you're sick, and you think, and sometimes you think you have more lung capacity, but suddenly like a cough is interrupting it, like you didn't expect that. A little surprise tremor, a little earthquake you had no idea was about to come your way. And it was disheartening, you know? Or like you would take the part, you finally cracked it after like 13 takes, and then it was distorted. And I wouldn't be surprised if like I might have cried once, or Bill might have cried once during the process of us working on that album, because of just like recording issues, you know? But I'm glad we committed to it and made it work, you know? And I love that project, but again, you see, I have like a very personal relationship with that time, and kind of thinking like, man, my writing leveled up, and I felt like my performing did too, but I couldn't fully display that. I couldn't fully reveal my power level, you know? I had to go back in the incubator and heal up a little more. Yeah. And then Beneath the Toxic Jungle was sort of, to me, where I sort of did that. It was a bit more polished in terms of my takes, my verses. And most of it I worked on while we were working on Ramona, you know? For example, like A Better Place, I recorded at some point while we were working on Ramona. Backwoods wasn't finished yet. Anyway, enough about Ramona. Let's go circle back around to just the idea of being inspired and allowing myself to not put boundaries around stuff. That's always the most exciting part of being an artist. You know, if you've ever worked on like a long form thing, like a long animation, right? Or a art piece that you've been working on arduously for a very long time, or an album. Whenever you're working on something like that, I think you will relate to this feeling of just like, you're both very happy and maybe proud of the thing you're working on and you're about to finish, but you're almost more excited to just like be done with it so you can start something new. And working on Keep the Change, what was great about it is the whole process felt like we were working on something new. You know what I'm saying? And I want to continue that. And now it's like, I don't have to think about it in the boundaries of like, oh, it's for a specific album anymore. So it's even fewer restrictions, you know? You know, like, how should we make this into a Bill and Rav song? I don't have to think about it that way. It could just be a Rav song. You know what I mean? Like, it could be whatever. It could become a Bill and Rav song. That's what I'm saying. It's like the endless possibilities is the best part. I love it. It's always the most exciting moment. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I've been writing a bunch. That's been nice. I think being in a different environment and being on the move a lot, seeing different things is good. It's been very good for my head. I think what I'm gonna start doing though is recording songs, because my setup is so simple. Like on the move, it's literally just this mic, an interface that's the size of my phone, and my MacBook. I ain't even got my MacBook plugged into anything right now but the interface. That's it, you know? It's all I need. I can record anywhere. That's how I do it. But also, I need to work on beats. I was thinking of like, I want to go sample hunting. Oh, speaking of samples, that the song that Bill and I did with the Miku joint, right? Things Will Get Much Worse From Here. The last song off of Keep the Change. That video is doing great. That video is almost 200,000 views, and it's only been like 3 weeks since it came out. That's crazy. That's dope. It's been awesome to see. I co-edited that. I put a lot of hours into editing the video. A lot of time. So I'm glad to see people have been reacting positively. And people fucking with the song. It seems like the YouTube algorithm's been recommending it to people that aren't really aware of Bill or I. And it's great to see a lot of the positive feedback. There's been some stuff where it's like, yo, credit Kikuo, it's not Hatsune Miku. It's like, what do you mean it's not Hatsune Miku? Like, it's never Hatsune Miku. It's not like Hatsune Miku's a person. She's an instrument. She's a Vocaloid. It's a synthesizer, right? That just has like a mascot brand. Once you utilize Miku's shit sonically, you can then use the brand so long as, you know, you adhere to certain rules. That's part of like the awesomeness of Miku, right? And I sampled Kiko, but it's transformative. Go listen to the original song I sampled, and these are not two of the same songs. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's like sampling someone playing the bass or playing a drum roll or something, and me sampling that, transforming it, making changes as well, mind you, right? And then, yeah, putting the song out. And that's what hip-hop has been forever. And I think people are like, well, why don't you credit Kiko? And I'm like, well, if I don't credit these other musicians that I sample, why would I make an excuse here? Especially when the said decision making is informed in the first place by the fact that, like, you know, there's a reason artists don't sample snitch on themselves. There's a reason why producers and rappers hate sample snitching and hate whosample.com and all of that. The intentions as a fan, as a musician, or as a fan of music, just like being able to recognize how tapped in you are into certain culture and shit like that by recognizing samples and stuff like that, and being able to identify the samples and then show love to that musician. I get that one, but the reality is the music industry is operated by a 3-label oligopoly that owns the whole thing. You know, the whole thing is a fucking nightmare. It's inescapable, and these copyright laws only serve to benefit the people who are hoarding royalties and publishing that aren't musicians, you know, more times than not. And these are the people who are litigious, right? You used to be able to sample whatever you wanted to until the 90s, when I think Puffy might have got sued for sampling a joint, and it was successful, and that opened up the floodgates, and then the whole industry was like, oh shit, we could have been having that part of the pie. And then years later, we had the whole lawsuit with Pharrell where he dead ass got sued successfully for a vibe, for copying a vibe, not even a sound, not a sample, not the same chord, a vibe, and successfully passed. And whenever a court case like that successfully passes, because it's new, because these cases, there's nothing like that has happened before, it sets a precedent. A precedent is a reference point that you can point to and be like, well, that's the model that we operate by now. That is the standard. The standards are awful, and they're deliberately declining, or, you know, going into a direction where it does not benefit the individual artist. It does not benefit the individual listener. It benefits the bottom line of record execs. And again, people who are hoarding wealth and capital in the form of royalties, publishing, or whatever else it may be. It sucks. It sucks. And because of that, people have to, you know, be low key about samples. Don't believe me? Do your research. Look this shit up. I'm not talking out my ass. I know I look young. I know I'm dumb as fuck. But I know a thing or two about a thing or two when it comes to this industry. Yeah. Anyway, all of that to say is, I love Kiko. It wouldn't make sense to say featuring him. He didn't make the joint. You know what I'm saying? I sampled an instrument he played, then repurposed it. That's something people do in sampling. That thing that I sampled is Miku's voice. That's why it says featuring Hatsune Miku. Besides, you understand. Come on. If you know what the song is about, you understand why it's so much harder that Miku is a part of it, that is a visible part of the song, right? For a multitude of reasons. One, it grabs people's attention, right? Two is the contrast. And the combination of the two, most important, is the conversation. And I hate it because saying it like that because it sounds corny as fuck, but it started so many conversations in the comment section. And that's exactly what I had hoped for. Both when producing the record, writing the record, and when editing the video. So that fact that people are seeing it makes me so happy. Thank y'all so much. I think it's for real because y'all fucked with the video. Y'all returned to it, left comments, liked it, added it to playlists probably. I guess just like the overall engagement is what pushed it to people's, like, general people's YouTube algorithm. You know what I mean? Anyway, I sound like a grandpa talking about that. I know. I'm grateful. I'm just saying it's cool. I hoped for it. I did not expect it. It's really cool, especially a song like that. That, like, that makes me really happy. I don't know. I didn't expect it. Bill, I think, did. Bill was, from the get-go, when he heard the beat, he was like, oh, this one's going to fucking go off. This one's going to be big. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, the subject matter and all of that. Like, I don't know if it's... I hope it would. But, you know what I'm saying? I didn't expect it to. So, shit. Another observation I made is a lot of people were like, oh, man, I wish this song was on Spotify. It's like, it is. Or some people would be like, I don't know who you are, but I love you, Kill Bill. And there's like a bunch like that. And none of them said Rav. And that would break my heart if I didn't know I killed it. Also, there are a lot of positive comments about like some of the bars from my verse, which I'm really appreciative of, man. I feel like I haven't been getting enough love on the lyrics on this album. Bill too, but I'm gonna just speak for myself right quick. Even on shit like Clutch, where we're talking our shit, you know? Let's see. Off that loud fixing to break the silence. Yeah, I don't want smoke, but I stay inside then. We cannot connect. I'm outside, you out the side your neck. Watch talk turn shout, that don't match your step. When you run your mouth till you catch your breath. Come on, man, like... So many other rappers, if they said some shit like that, people be like, oh my goodness. Well, because it's me, it's like, yo, oh, should I be angry with him? Oh, what is he saying? Is he saying fucking nothing? That little piece of shit who says nothing all the time? Or is he saying something I'm angry about and I hate? Oh, is he saying something mean about something I like? I love Keep the Change, man. We killed it. I'm so proud of the album. Man, I produced 9 out of the 11 joints. I had my hand in the production of 9 of the 11 joints. Let's put it that way. I love producing. And then I produced every song but one on I'm On To Me, and every song but one on Leap, you know? And I produced most of the joints on Skin, I'm pretty sure. It's just been, you know, I've always produced and I've always included my production, rapped over production, but I haven't really thought about it until recently, but like, I've been more comfortable with just handling my own production as of late, you know? I don't know, it's fun. I love working with others too, the collaboration process, and just like being able to work with others, it's always a blessing, don't get me wrong, but something cool and intimate about like doing everything from scratch, you know? I don't know, it feels like a cool chunk of you to be like, pow, you know? I don't even know if this kind of stuff is interesting for y'all to listen to. You know me though, I can yap. Oh, I can yap. Your boy can yap. I missed y'all. I haven't streamed in a little bit. I can't wait to be able to stream again. I got a Verizon like a travel router type thing, travel tower router thingamabob. You just plug it into the wall and boom, I have unlimited Wi-Fi and LAN if I wanted to. I mean cable, you know what I mean? And you can plug multiple. It's cool, man. It's so dope. Now I can hopefully do shit while I'm on the road like this, and maybe even streaming, you know? Yeah. I think that would be kind of fucking cool. I'm thinking I wonder if anyone's going to listen to this episode and maybe other episodes too, the way that I listen to that Jacob fucking Jones guy who smokes cigarettes and talks for like 40 minutes to an hour at a time. I can only hope. Oh, listen to the crackle of this lighter when you turn it on. I don't know if you could hear that, but gosh, it is satisfying. You know, lighters, Zorro and Zippo lighters always make for the best fidget toy, I find. Most fidget toys don't work for me. I know they work for a lot of people, and that's awesome. I'm not talking down on fidget toys, but for me, almost everything that's designed to be a fidget toy, I just abandon. And what I actually end up fidgeting with is either a hairband or a lighter or both. Because with a Zippo lighter or a Zorro lighter, like there's so many components. There's so many parts. When you open it up, you can open partially or fully, and depending on how you do that and how you close it, it'll make a slightly different clickety sound. So that means you start making rhythmic things where you're differentiating like the sounds based on like the different resonant frequencies. So it's like almost different percussive elements, you know? And you can tap on it, and you can also like, you know, I wear rings. Like for instance, my Vivian Westwood armor ring, I like that tapping on it or running the texture like as if I'm like running the lighter against the back of an armadillo type shit. Or there's so many things I can do where I'm combining the two to make different sounds, and I love that. I like sounds, and also just, you know, fire is mesmerizing in and of itself. And the weight, I like the weight of them and how it fits in my hand. It's perfect, you know, small hands. So I really like, it's just so satisfying, man. Y'all, if you've come to my shows and you've seen me after a show or outside of a show, or if you've like run into me in the wild, you probably have heard this in my pocket or outside of my pocket, because I'm constantly fidgeting. I love doing sound stuff though. Here's a little life hack for y'all. If you ever hear like an alarm or something that kind of has a gyrating thing going on, like and you're worried about it driving you nuts, as it's doing start beatboxing. You know, as it's doing it, just do it, and suddenly it doesn't feel like a droning noise anymore. It feels like a looping sample. Especially if you have, you know, varying percussion in your beatbox as you do it. Or you could do other things. You could start singing, you know, and do little stabs maybe or something. I feel like if there's like a droning noise, usually you want stabbing, like percussive type sounds, to counterbalance that annoyance. Yeah, so I love doing that. I've always done that. I also love freestyling to the sound of the turning. You know when you're driving and you hit the turny stick? I'm gonna call it that. The turny stick. And it starts going blinkers. Fuck, what am I saying? And it just starts going tick, 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 tick. I immediately in my head, I'm just like, big dick fella, you a big dick smeller. Yeah. I'm kind of poetic with it, I guess. Shit. What else? Oh, let me take a little sip of my dang soda. I promised myself to stop or only drink sodas when I'm out. But I ordered pizza earlier. Papa John's. And I was like, okay, let me take a sip. Hey. Of a soda along with my pizza. It only makes sense. That's what I was thinking, at least. In my mind's eye, I was like, that makes sense. God. What is wrong with me? Easier question to answer would be, what is right with me? Because there's not a whole lot. Let's just say that, partner. Dude, I do not miss being in the UK. I'm so glad I'm fucking gone. Also, just all the shit that's going on in the UK right now. Holy shit, that's insane. Sorry, I put my hand in front of the light and I got distracted. Because I'm a little zooted, but also just like, this looks sick. Whoa. The fish islands and the lighting and the whoa. Audio listeners, if you're like thinking to yourself, what the fuck is he talking about? I'm just putting my hand in front of the lens, and because it's like a fisheye lens, it's like making it look all 90s and shit. The hand's all big, but I'm smaller because I'm further away, and that's how perspective works, especially with the wide lens like this one. Oh man. Yeah, so this is a Rav podcast. This is what it would be like if I did a Rav only podcast, which I actually did start at one point, and then I dropped it off because, oh no, it wasn't going to be just me. I was going to have a guest on each episode. That was the problem. Trying to find a guest for each episode was a little too ambitious, and at the time when I started it, I remember people weren't really feeling it, I think. Or maybe I just hyperfixated on the hate or something at the time, you know. I think I was it was at a time when I think I could see myself falling into a trap like that. I'm glad I'm not that kind of person no more, but you know, it's funny, like you know, I like to see myself as like a rapper. Like that's, I'm a producer, I'm a rapper, like that's what I do. I like creating music, you know, but the reality is, like, I love making shit. I love editing videos. I love editing covers. I love animating. I love photos. I love taking photos, photography. I'm like, really, I love that, you know? I just love so much stuff. And that includes fucking podcasting, man, you know? And it's an art in and of itself, but I'll be just completely real with y'all. I just like, you know, community. You know, I love talking, I love listening. I listen to podcasts all the time. You know? So I get it. And so getting to participate in that is really cool. Especially when, you know, you're a fucking professional yapper like myself. I grew up yapping. You know, like you wouldn't believe. I really did come out head first when I was being birthed. And apparently before the rest of my body even came out, I started crying and screaming, which, according to what I was told, is not super common. It's not like, whoa, impossible, but it's not very common, I think, for babies to draw breath before the full body's out. So that's how you knew I was going to be a yapper. My stepdad used to sometimes, if I was in the car with him, if we were like in the cab or whatever together, would sometimes offer me money if I would keep quiet for the rest of the ride. I made money, let's just say that. I did it. I was like, oh shit, time to lock in. And I locked the fuck in. You know, when I was younger, I was definitely made to feel bad about it in many different ways. Whether it was like people being actually upset with me, or it was like some tongue-in-cheek but like sideways comments type shit, you know. I could sense it, and I guess what upset me about it is feeling like I didn't have much control over it. It felt like I had to change. People wanted me to change a part of myself that felt like, well, that's just like, I think this is who I am innately, you know. And when you are actively suppressing a part of you that feels that way, I think that's a recipe for disaster, you know. It's a recipe for being insecure. It's a recipe for never really getting to know yourself. And I think I've said this before, possibly on this podcast. To me, if there was a purpose to life, it would be to get to know yourself, you know? And on that note, I think you should get to know yourselves, and you should get to know the fact that we have a Patreon, Void of Femme Patreon. That's right. For $5 a month, you can get an extra episode each week. You know how you get a free episode here? You know, I don't know if you're listening to this on Spotify, YouTube, or somewhere else, but you know how you get like an hour for free each week, right? So approximately 4 hours a month. That's quick math right there. Well, you get that same amount on Patreon every week and month, right? That's twice the amount of content. And what we do behind the scenes, I guess, or like on Patreon, is usually unedited, and it's a lot raunchier, I guess. We can get away with crazier stuff because it doesn't have the same terms of service as YouTube. So there's that. Also, we don't do Let's Plays on YouTube, but we do them over on Patreon on occasion. We also do a bi-weekly advice hour where we speak with tier 2 members of our Patreon. If you would like to be a tier 2, that's $20 a month. Again, it offers you all the aforementioned things, but it also allows you to participate, if you so choose to, twice a month in our advice corner with Rav and Bill. And this advice thing is obviously not solicited advice. This is, you know, advice from two idiots. But what we do is we hop on Discord, and all our patrons will have access to specific Discord channels, and tier 2 subs will have access to the channel where we do this bi-weekly advice hour segment. We hop on in there and we get to answer your questions. Again, you could ask them via voice and talk with us, right? Or if you feel shy, you could type your question out. You could ask multiple questions. Yeah, it's a great way to basically connect with us and other members of the Void FM community. It's always fun. It's fun. It can get unhinged, but I'm pretty sure almost every episode, if not every episode, has been pretty dang wholesome whenever we've done these, you know? Also, we do other shit behind the paywall. I don't know why I second guessed that. Behind the paywall, we also like do just extra material that we drop. We release photos that we don't put anywhere else. We release music that we don't put anywhere else. For instance, Bill released a B-sides project of 20-something joins over on Patreon of like Kill Bill the Rapper joins. You know what I'm saying? For our patrons. And I've put out stuff in the past too, like my first ever acid trip music noodles that I saved from the trip during Deception Falls. I uploaded that, and we intend to upload more stuff in the future. That is all to say that there is a guaranteed bit of content every week for sure. Being a patron, you're guaranteed to get that, but we will also every now and then try to give you more than just that, you know, because it's fun for us to share, and it would be kind of fun to do maybe more behind the scenes stuff. I've been talking about wanting to maybe do some sort of like gear corner moment with Rav, where I'm like, here's gear of the week, you know, or of the month, where I'm like, oh, here's a fucking phone. I use it to go do hello, is this the hospital? Take me back, you know, something like that. So maybe I'll do that. No promises just yet, but I'll probably do it. Anyway, that was the longest, most convoluted version of the promo. Possibly because I'm a little stoned, but also possibly because Bill is just way better at doing this segment than I am. This is why I usually leave it up to him. My job is to say, you know, you are now tuning into Void FM. His job is to be a corporate shill, as it were. And then Mitch is, you know, the role of just a cruel person behind the scenes who just like is real mean with us, you know. Anyway, thank y'all for tuning in. I hope y'all have a great rest of your week. Don't forget, keep your ears peeled and your eyes open for a little Friday something, okay? All right. It's important. It means a lot to me. Please be there. It's a big deal, okay? Much love, y'all. Peace out. Doodly-doo-doo.
The following is a preview of this week's Patreon exclusive episode. Available now over on the Void FM podcast Patreon.
He doesn't know how to talk very well, so don't worry about him.
I don't know what to say.
And if you're unlucky, then you just like, you eat the wrong thing, you might fall into a coma.
Why should I hate Sword Art Online?
You shouldn't hate Sword Art Online necessarily. I do. The character is fucking annoying.